Hello guys. Another week, another broken promise. Obviously I streamed last weekend, said I'd stream on Monday. This week, sorry, ended up being kind of crazy, and not even with work stuff. Like, without realizing it, we kind of, like, me and a few friends accidentally planned something for every single night, like with different, like, friend groups and stuff. So I've just literally not had any free time. Other than socializing, which I guess is free time, but we'll ignore that. But yeah, so I have done a tiny bit of work on this off stream. I did it on Sunday night. Literally just going in and doing a little bit more work on the cloth setup. So not much. We have changed approach for the ramp. So it's a bit basic right now. We will replace it with an actual map to project. But rather than using the world position, like Y, to have like a gradient from bottom to top, we're now using a render camera projection and projecting a circular ramp. So now the volume displacement stuff that we're doing is confined to the corners of the screen. Now I am thinking of moving the projection camera at render time, just offsetting it, and that would allow us to get kind of a more vertical thing rather than cutting across diagonally, because I don't like how it's getting the collar. But that's quite an easy thing to fix. We also spent a little bit of time, like I says, hanging out with some people at the time, working on displacement. So obviously the scale is completely wrong for the inside. I need to change the UVs. But hey man, you get me through a tight deadline in the UK right now. Man, what are you doing? Are you working? Or are you a student? Or because it's what, like midnight in the UK? Yeah, it's midnight. I hope you're okay. I hope whatever it is you're doing isn't working you too hard, dude. If there's any way I can help, let me know. If there's any advice that might help you doing whatever you're doing. But yeah, so the scale of the cloth displacement on the inside of the coat is wrong. So obviously we kind of knew that the UVs would be bad, but we just need to scale up the internal UVs. I do quite like the blend we've got. Now, it's insanely slow to render. Like, I will never do this approach again. It's a fun effect, but it's so much easier to do in something like comp. Not for me, not my skill set, but I work in have a delivery for a client. Oh, well, best of luck, man. But yeah, so I'll never do this cloth approach again, just because, like, although I like the effect of it, there's so many better ways to achieve it. We'll kind of see. Obviously, the final renders, I'll be leaving it overnight for a single frame, I think. But yeah, so that's all kind of ready to go. Again, the changes I'm going to make to the coat, I'm probably going to add because of course I am, add some kind of groom, like some kind of fuzz, just for the collar and the top of the shoulder, maybe. Just to get that little bit of a spec hit that I really, really like on clothing. There is a little bit of fuzz kind of in the coat already via the texturing XYZ displacement, because that's what I'm using for this. But yeah, so we'll add a groom at some point, not today. We'll just probably just copy the one from Sticky Monsters. I will fix the UVs today. Like, that's an easy enough thing to do. I'll just literally grab these UVs and scale them up, so it's the same. And then beyond that, I don't know if I'll play about with the projection today. I'll probably move on to this shirt and start getting a nice shader on there. But yeah, so that's it for now. I'm going to kill this render. And that's already been rendering for like 30 minutes and it's still horrifically noisy. And that's with very low render settings as well. Like, it's a 1K square, so not even final res. This is going to be like a 15-hour render, I think, on my machine. Granted, because I'm doing everything in camera and not faking anything, which is always fun. But yeah, so I guess let's get started. Let's get into Maya. And I'm just going to immediately start off by fixing the UV scale. So let's grab you. So we got this piece in here. So what I'm going to do, we'll grab the collar. There's a hole. I mean, it doesn't matter, but where is that? Oh, it's in here. Okay, it really doesn't matter. But yeah, so we got that. So if you haven't used the UV toolkit before, use it. It's incredible. So select this, go into transform. We will get our texel density, which is 3.75. And then what I can do is just grab this guy, which I'm going to quickly reproject, I think. Let me just convert this to faces. Come on, to contain faces. Come on. Okay, and then let's mapping planar Z. Okay, and then with that selected, all we're going to do is just hit set, and that's going to scale this to be the same as same scale as the collar, which is that big. So I'm just going to move that to a separate UDIM so it's not overlapping. In fact, we'll just move it over here. And that is now matched. It's obviously not going to be good, but it is matched. What I may do just for prosperity is do like a extremely basic unfold. Let's go into edge. Come on. Okay, can I select any of these edges? Not really, okay. I had to find some kind of edge that doesn't like loop around too much. Like that. Okay, we'll leave it. I think scale is the main thing I need to fix. There will be a UV seam though, and it won't look good. Okay. Scale is fixed though. So next thing was to, well, we'll need to re-export this first. So let's just go scene graph. Yep, okay, scene graph's good. Utils, flush caches, so we can save over our alembic. We're going to grab this guy, go to cache, alembic, export selection to alembic, and let's just go to our model publish. Now at some point I do need to set up some kind of version controlling for model publishers. Even if it's just like named folders. In the long run that will save me a lot of pain. So what we're going to do, just to save time, we're going to we want that prune. Let's throw in the clothing. Let's do this. Throw that in, and then we'll get rid of the other two in a moment. Let's just go into our shader, clothing mats. So we're just going to go to our coat and then disconnect opacity. Clamp, and it's going to name that clamp coat opacity. Opacity. Okay. So that can now render as normal. So we did just export the model. We should just be able to render this, and we'll see what the coat on its own renders like without the volume, which is what drives the render time. Well, the opacity is what kills render time, but we'll ignore that. There we go. That's better. The thing I don't like right now is there's no visual separation between the collar and the actual coat. Now there are ways I can achieve that. Lighting is going to be a big one, because we are going to change the lighting. I'll probably do a more side-on thing, which will create a lot of visual separation, I think. It's very chunky looking. The sculpt itself needs some revisiting. Getting a bit of a thing there. Yeah, you can see the seam, but we get away with it really. Okay, do we have subsurface on this? We shouldn't have much, but we should have some. We do not, okay. Base, we have a base color. I'm going to plug that into subsurface scattering. Probably just use diffusion to keep it a bit lighter. So let's go to subsurface. We're going to use diffusion. I'm going to add, let's say let's go 50-50. In fact, no, way less. Let's go 0.2. And then radius, I'm going to plug the color into that as well, which tends to work pretty well. Subsurface scale, that's going to need to go way down. Something like that. Maybe this. Okay. And that will just soften up some of the shadows a little bit. But it will still allow the lighting hits. The thing I like about subsurface is it flattens out the shadows, but it doesn't flatten out the specular and light hits. So you still get the really nice highlights, but without the really sharp shadows. Obviously, assuming you got enough weight to it. Okay, and where is our displacement? It's this guy, right? What's the map bias in this? It's already set to -2, yeah. Let's go to our SSS pass, make sure it's working. Yeah, barely anything, but it's not solely. Might increase the radius. See how that looks. The model is the main thing letting it down right now. Obviously the texturing is non-existent. It's all procedural and tileables, but the model is the primary thing, I think. It's extremely basic. Next project, we're going to have a bit of fun with cloth as well. Because I'm like not even remotely concerned about realism on the next project. I just want to make something that looks cool. We are going to experiment with eyes again, just because it's my main interest, honestly, is eyes. But I'm going to experiment with more stylistic ways. So I'm not worrying about anatomy. I'm just worrying about, oh hey, how can we achieve different like painterly effects with an eyeball setup. There we go. Yeah, I think once we've got some, once we've got a little bit of fuzz on there, that will start to read quite well like a cloth. Although we do need some kind of memory fold thing going on, because currently the displacement is just the weave and a noise basically. If I go to my channel, you can see there's like a bump to it, as well as the actual cloth weave itself. This is not good. But it works well enough. That is pretty bad stretching though. Okay, yeah, I'd say that will do for now. Right, so we're going to unhide one element at a time. Let's start with the shirt, and we'll improve the shirt. Although we don't currently have UVs on the shirt in here, so we'll need to push that quickly through pipe. Let's just go to Clothing mats, go to the shirt, and let's kick off a new render. This time a shirt visible. Yeah, there we go. So while that's going, let's open up ZBrush. I need to get the UVs onto the sculpt so that I can get the correct shape and thickness as well, because ZBrush is handling our cloth thickness for us. I don't know how ZBrush handles UVs on thickness. Okay. Open file. Let's go to CG stuff, projects, person projects, modeling, ZBrush, 25. There is a bit of intersection, we'll have to fix that. Why is the shirt so heavy? Let's check, what am I using for this shirt? Oh, random water V2, that's a bad idea. That subsurface scale is off in the coat. We'll match it to the shirt. Granted, because the subsurface color is darker on the coat, the radius is naturally going to be a bit less. Like, it just is, but subsurface amount, yeah, that's fine. Does it actually create a different... Oh, that does! Shit, okay. Diffusion doesn't handle it correctly. I can test what it's like with no subsurface, but that's noticeably different. Although, is it worse? Let's try, so that's set to 404, let's set that to 0. And we'll just let it render basic pass. If we have to, we'll put on random walk again, but it's a lot heavier and feels kind of pointless. Okay. Yes, we definitely need some surface because that's really bad looking. That's GI, so that's kind of a not helpful thing. These are all folded over themselves, so they're not really ideal ref. Although that's a lot more glowy, yeah. So that's we're gonna need V2 to hit that. I never realized diffusion was so much darker. But okay, if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. We can try V1. See if that's quicker. We can also add anisotropy to kind of help it along. I always forget which way around it is though. Yeah, so forward is what we'd want, so a positive number. So that it kind of continues going away from the light. Backward is when, if your light's here and your surface is here, backward scattering as it goes in, bounces about and is more likely to come back this way. Whereas forward is it goes in and is more likely to keep going forward. Obviously some comes back because it's subsurface scattering. Oh, I need to turn that on. Let's see what this looks like. Same settings, just random walk V1 rather than V2. V2 is more accurate, generally speaking, but I don't know if it will work for cloth. Because cloth isn't a solid medium, it's fibers that weave together, so subsurface technically isn't the right way to go. Well, kinda. Okay, so V1 looks identical. Mostly. Unless I do, like, another pass. So V2 has a bit more detail. I feel like V1 might actually be artistically at least better for what we want. Because it gets a little bit more scatter. I need to fix that intersection now because it's going to really bother me. And this color match is going to really mess with me as well. I might add some UV based color variation. One thing I'm aware of is all of this stuff won't be visible, but I'd say that's good enough. Yeah, we'll add some UV based color variation for the coat because it just kind of blurs into one thing. It's quite ugly. Well, let's check our diffuse color. I mean albedo. Again, ignore all this stuff. Oh, it's clipping here as well. Okay. Do we have curvature on this? We have curvature. Okay. I need to get rid of that. Or at least reduce it. Let's go find it. Node graph. So we've got color correct, which is our coat color. So let's just say CC coat col layer facing ratio. Oh, it's facing ratio. Okay. So we actually want this to be reduced then, don't we? I mean, ideally we don't want it to factor in the displacement, but I don't think there's a way to disable that for facing ratio. Either way, let's get the UVs. So in here, let's go to our. Okay, so this has the UVs, right? Oh yeah, because we brought it in, but then didn't update anything. Okay. So what's going to be the best way to go about this? There's 2 million polygons right now. Let's just go Z plugin. We'll duplicate it temporarily. Or we can just go to the lowest poly and export, or maybe second lowest. Okay, so that's the lowest, don't like that. That's second lowest, still not great. We're at 40,000 here and it's starting to hold up, so maybe we can use that. Because then we can start adding subdivisions and it's going to work a bit more smoothly. And we can add displacement later to get up to the higher levels. It's so badly sculpted over here. This holds the primary shapes, although this works better. But I don't want 160k polys just for that. So we'll export this. So turn off group, export. Let's just go into my shirt. I'm just going to call this shirt. What level is this? I think it's level 3, right? Yep. Export. Maya exports shirt. Sub D3. I'll keep the D lowercase. That's a bit more appealing. So D3 geo. Okay, so that will do, I think. Okay, so let's get that into Maya, so we can export it into the same object. So we'll delete you. We just need to rename it. Clothing. Yep, so delete that. And this one is the low poly, right? Yep. It's gonna rename this. Sub D 0. Okay, delete this. Hide that. File. Import. Let's go to modeling, Maya, exports. I'm definitely going to change the way I approach naming. Does that have the thickness? I need to apply it, okay. Let's just go into our dynamic. Apply. Because that basically like fucks up all of the that completely fucks up all of the sub D levels, because now topology is different, but it bakes in the thickness, so we can just export that sub D3, which now isn't technically correct anymore, but that's fine. File, import. Pipeline for this is messy. We need to really address that in future projects. Okay, there we go. Going to assign existing material. Let's go plane 4, whatever that's doing. Oh, we have a preview mat somewhere, right? What's the name of this material? Preview mat, yeah, okay. Export. Where's preview mat? There it is. Okay, there we go. So we'll assign that. Grab you, put you in there. Okay, so that's how many polygons? 80,000. Ah, that's fine. Got this. Let's, while we're at it, assign this as well. Preview map. There we go. Bit cleaner now. Although having the shirt with the same colour as the skin is kind of off-putting. Let's go to cache, Alembic, export selection to Alembic, and then we'll just replace that. Of course, let's just go to SceneGraph, utils, flush caches. Okay, and then back into Maya. We should be able to export this now. Cache. Cool, there we go. So now let's go to Katana, and we'll just hit render as is, see how it does. And then while that quickly bakes, I'm going to go turn off light, because the light is like barely on in our room. I return. Okay, so is this slightly different from the last one? I think it is. Yeah, it is. Okay, cool. That's actually what we wanted to see. So now we should have UVs, which means we can start playing about with displacement. First off, we have our coat. We'll see if 2 subdivs is enough for the shirt, because it will get that up to like 300k-ish. Oh, it's 80k right now. Oh, it'll get past 1 million, yeah, we should be fine. And then I think base is going to be what applies to it, so let's see what the settings are for that. 2, that's fine. Displacement, do we have auto bump? We do, alright, cool. So that should work well enough. There's a chance it won't, but that's fine. Let's kill that. Let's go to our shader down here. For now, we're just going to copy probably this entire setup actually. Bring that up here. And we'll just paste that in and see how it reacts. There we go. Okay, so save our scene. I'm also going to increment as well. Check the normals. Okay, so that's doing something. It's definitely too aggressive for a shirt. Definitely too aggressive for a shirt. I think too large as well, by quite a long way. So let's do the following. We're going to change the coordinates. I'm going to set this to be, let's say, 40 tiles, which is going to be very, very small. We're also going to reduce the overall strength of it. I have to do that in a range, don't I? Can I do that in a range? Okay, so this is the total strength for the disp. So let's go down to, let's say about 0.5 and 0.0. Maybe even lower actually. Let's go 0.2. Get some more effect there, which is nice. We also want this guy to be a lot weaker. Where was I testing my actual strength? I wasn't, was I? It just happens to be strong enough. So let's create a multiply. Okay. We're going to mult this down by 0.5. Tiling might be a bit too small now. Can't really tell at this sample rate. We need it to go a little bit further. The bump is way too much though. Like this guy. Okay, let's reduce that. Let's go 08. No, 075. That will not have made a visual difference, but it's nicer numbers. Okay, we'll let this get somewhat clean. While we do so, let's check out our settings in this guy. We have a decent amount of sheen. Obviously don't need emission. Specular 0, good. Although, maybe worth adding some later. And if you add it, you need an incredible amount of anisotropy to get it to work. Looks like it's working. Looks like it's working. And it seems to be rendering a lot more friendly rate now as well. I was wondering, do I have any other textures that may be better suited to the coat? So I think one of the things that's kind of messing it up right now is like there's not much like it's just horizontal and vertical lines, which all cloth is obviously, but like some cloths display that more than others. I think this is working quite well. I need to model some buttons onto here for it to really work, but I'm not too worried about that yet. I think subsurface amount is okay. This would need to be fixed, but at this point it's a bit difficult to fix that sort of stuff. Like, it just needs better topology. That's kind of the beginning and end of it. Let me see what other... Yeah, let me see what other maps I have. 1 second. Okay, 1 second. Break up jacket with some slight noise. Yeah, so I will be adding some color at some point, like color changes. But for now, there's like a surface thing to it that I don't like. I think also it's the disp is a bit too strong, isn't it? Let's go and pull that back. Like, now that I'm looking at it and really seeing it, let's go to the lowest 0.1 and bring this to 0.5. That will add just enough variation. If you're already doing that, ignore me. Oh, no worries, man. There is a noise already in the displacement to get just a little bit of surface breakup that isn't just cloth. Because a quick tip with cloth, most people just kind of sculpt some folds and put on a tileable weave map and call it a day, but cloth has so many layers of displacement to it. Like, I'm not even scratching the surface. Like, I've only got 2 layers without Z-disp. Or displacement, I should say. Like sculpted. Really, this should be like 3 or 4 layers of displacement plus the ZBrush sculpt. But yeah, anyway, so let's get into CG stuff. Projects. Oh no, it's actually not projects. It's the asset library. Jesus. Micro maps. So I'm wondering, what maps do we have? Like, already converted, because I already have my maps as well, to be fair. Like, I do have, where is it? ID bump maps. Oh, this was a thing I did a while ago to teach some people something. Cloth tile maps. I think I did make TX maps for these. I could try one of my maps. 12 maybe. We can even try rotating the map. In fact, no, that's a bad idea. Yeah, let me try one of mine. Let's go twill 1x2. So we just need to change the file path. So gonna copy paste this first, so we've got a backup of it. Okay, and then we're gonna copy the path to this guy, and then backslash it, and then the file name of this guy. And then we need to shuffle out the green channel, or just connect the green channel. So I'm pretty sure that's the channel I was using. Red. Yeah, I think green is bump. Right, so green. Let's test render that, just without even changing the tiling. Let's just see what it does. So I don't know how big it is in comparison to the others. If that doesn't work, we can try twill 2x2. So 1x2 looks like this, 2x2 looks like this. So 2x2 is basically a diagonal Oxford weave. 1x2 is kind of its own thing, where generally speaking, there's more vertical visible than horizontal, which I find visually quite interesting. Another really cool one is herringbone. I really regret bending these. 'Cause I made these maps years ago, like myself. But I really like the pattern that herringbone has. Weirdly, I never converted that to a TX file. Is this the one? Oh, I just left the same one plugged in, didn't I? Okay. That's hilarious. Let me just do this. Okay. So let's go into the catalog, delete that last one. Maybe a tweed pattern. Yeah, so a tweed pattern is what I'm putting on it right now. Tweed is very often a twill or herringbone weave. How can you use these patterns in Substance Painter? So, oh Jesus, that tiling is way off. We need to tile this a lot more. Let's just 1 second, guys. Let's try 100. How can you use patterns like this in Substance Painter? So you're going to want to use oh God, what was the name of it? It's been so long since I actually used it. God, how do you load a tileable image? Let me quickly Google it for you, 1 sec. Okay, so tiling textures. I don't want to make a tileable, I want to load a tileable. I'm guessing this would be the best match. Or is he making... Yeah, he's making tilables. Okay. I think, anyway. Do you know how to make a... As in, not make, how to use a tileable texture in Substance Painter? Do you remember what you do?
You just drag it in, drop it into the different channels.
But like, how do you tile it?
Oh.
Like, was there a specific layer or generator you have to use?
Yes, so have you got Substance there?
No.
Is somebody asking this?
Yeah, someone asked. How do you use tilables?
Whenever you open Substance Painter and there's like base color roughness, you know, in the layer, or the you drag your base color roughness map of that into that, and then at the top there's like literally tileable. It's like skin.
Oh, so you can change.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you just drag them all into the one, you know, into like the one like fill.
Yep.
And then it's
oh, Phil. Yeah, that's the name. Yeah, no, you're right on that. Yeah, so you want to use, as Becca said, use a filler. Becca uses Substance a lot more than I do. You do use it at work. Okay, so this is a bit more interesting. Let's check our normals. Actually, I might commit to that. I will need to reduce it, because now it's super strong. Oh, sorry? You can turn it off, yeah? You have to push it down until it clicks to turn it off. Yep. Cool, so I'm gonna... I need to change the range, don't I? Not that range. This range. Okay, let's try that. I'll probably stream until about 9 o'clock, by the way. Then play some video games. Just so you guys are aware, so during next week, I won't be able to stream, and I think a half of the week after. There might be a gap here or there that I can stream, but I know for a fact like there's stuff coming up where I can't really be sat streaming in the evenings. I need to do other stuff. So Becca's brother is here, yeah. So yeah, I won't be able to stream, but I probably will work on this project off stream, and then we can kind of do a recap when I come back. But that's not right now's problem, that's future's problem. Okay, I'm not sure I like the reduction there. This is still too strong, I think. They're a bit too small too. I think we'll change the tiling size again. So the thing I quite like about my own maps, for the cloth, is they're all the same size. They're all the same number of weaves, except for herringbone, because that wouldn't repeat on the same pattern that the other ones repeated. So it means I can swap them in and out without changing the scaling. Whereas XYZ's maps, they're a lot better executed than mine, but they're by nature of being better executed, they're also inconsistent in terms of like the actual tiling amount. So once I get a tiling amount I like, I can hot swap the patterns, and it stays the same size per thread. I think this is, yeah, I think 1x2 is a bit too much because we're getting these really visible lines. I actually don't really like that. We're also getting a bit of inflation, right? Yeah, we are. Let's go into our normals. Is it working the way we expect? Mine's not balanced correctly. May go back to the map that they Add. We'll try a different twill. Let's try twill 2x2. If I don't like it, I'll just swap the map back out. It's easy enough. Use the XYZ once, and I can look for a tile that I like later. Or while it renders, actually, I'll look now. XYZ, cloth, micro. So we do have this one pre-saved. But it's not really the kind of thing that we want. Corduroy. Do have some TX files for this. That could work. That could look interesting. This is too strong for sure. Okay, let's try corduroy. So I'm just going to copy paste this path, and we'll swap out some parts of it. So we're going to want to go back to vaguely the same tiling we had before. So 25. Let's go back to 25, and then we'll change it once we see the map. Okay, so I need to get this part. Okay. And then we'll replace that end bit with rename. Okay. There is something about this that I quite like. Actually, there is something about that I quite like. Everybody loves corduroy. Everyone does love corduroy. There is something about this pattern that I'm liking. Corduroy will also get a similar effect. It's making the seam very visible though. We can maybe come back to the twill 2x2. It's definitely too strong though, like, Jesus, look at that. Actually, yeah, after this render I might undo, because there's something about that 2x2 that I'm quite liking. Kill that. Twill weaves are a lot of fun. So the thing with corduroy is going to change the way I have to shade it, because corduroy is a lot more specular based, it seems. Okay, that's going to need a rotation. Let's just let it do its thing for a moment though. It's currently mip-mapped, so this is going to be bigger than the actual result. There we go. So for corduroy, this is a little bit too big, I think. Very slightly, though. Oh yeah, this sheen is horrific. Like, once you displacement is too strong, sheen just goes, like, haywire. There's something quite nice to this, although I don't know if it would suit the smoke. That's one of the problems that I have with this. Definitely looks better than this. But I think it's a bit much. Sheen's also way too bright. Okay, let's go back to twill 2x2. And then while we're at it, we're going to reduce the strength. So let's go to 1, 0, 2, 5. that's set back to 100. Alright, cool. We can literally just A/B all these. But yeah, the smoke is killer. Like, in terms of like the render times, like everything has to combine with this quite smoothly. So yeah, it's a bit of a pain. What I'm wondering is, do I need to render opacity on the clothing, or is the displacement going to do it for me? Because I feel like the displacement alone, we're going to get, like, whenever the smoke displaces inwards, we're going to get really visible. In fact, yeah, we do kind of need that transparency. It's a shame. Corduroy looks so interesting. That's the annoying thing with it. It just doesn't suit what I've got in my head for like the cloth of this. It's kind of working. I think once I've got my fuzz groom on her, that will start to work, I think. It's more visually interesting than this, and it gets that visual separation. Although we still need some 2D noise differentiate it some more. How's my okay, check my normals. We can afford to go a little bit deeper on the yeah, we can afford to go a little bit more on the displacement. Just a tiny bit though. Like, it's currently point. Oh, there it is. Wait, why am I biasing this? Oh wait, like, yeah, because that's the mask. It's not anything else. Okay. I'm gonna try going to 0.5 and then increase this to 0.5 because these smooth areas are too smooth. The bump is a bit too much now as well. Like now that we're using a smoother weave, the actual noise is too much. Yeah, once we've done this, we'll move on to the tie to get that. We'll need to get some basic retypo on it, but that's a non-issue, honestly. It's such an easy thing to UV and to topo as well. Just gotta mute for a sec. Alright, let's see how this samples. I prefer it over the last one. Can't pinpoint why. Yeah, I prefer that. It is inflating, in here especially, but not by much. I think we can get away with that amount of inflation. Now, is the tiling what we want? I think it's a little bit too tiled right now. I need a second opinion. What do you guys think? And also, Becca, what do you think? Should I tile the cloth less? Becca? I don't think she can hear me. She's got headphones on. Oh, there you are. Should I tile the cloth less, do you think?
Well, it depends on the size of the
But I just think visually, like...
I think it's fine.
You think it's okay where it is? Really coarse, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, oh, absolutely. And one thing to remember as well is this is over 100 years ago, so it's not going to be like precision made, like super smooth. He was a rich man, but like production back then wasn't quite as what it is. 0 point difference between the fabric tiles. Oh yeah, there is. My maps, I made these. Well, I modeled these fabric maps back in 2016, maybe 2017. I think in 2016 I modeled them. So I didn't really understand how to zero things correctly. I did do an entire paper on it as well. Actually, I'll share that because it's generally helpful information for cloth tiles. Let me just grab it. But yeah, the map itself isn't properly zero balanced. Because at the time I was more figuring out how to model a tileable texture, which was a little bit of a nightmare. I was waiting for my site to respond. There we go. The fun thing is they actually beat Texture XYZ to the punch on these. Like, I released this, I think it was 2 weeks before XYZ announced theirs, which is why if you go into XYZ's site, I was the person who did some of their first tutorials, because Jeremy was kind enough to reach out to me and be like, hey, you're a student, and you just made something kind of similar to ours, do you want to make some videos? Which was cool, because it was nice to like do some like kind of recognizable site stuff. And as a student back then, I didn't really understand the importance of getting paid for work. They paid me in textures, which again at the time I gladly accepted. So that's not on them, really, it's on me. This here is pretty bad. I feel like I need to clamp them in. Let me clamp. Our minimum point is a fair bit higher. But our minimum point of the weave is a fair bit higher than the actual lowest values of the texture. So, okay, we're just gonna set them in to 0.1, and that will just reduce the depth of the holes. Like, it won't reduce the depth of the actual weave itself. That should help. So let's reduce the strength of this guy as well, because it's currently a little bit too strong. Let's go 0.15. So a 25% reduction. And I think while we're at it, we can delete this guy now. Nice short node names. That feels a lot better. Okay, so how's our sheen doing? Sheen is a little bit too strong. I'm assuming it is sheen. So we don't have spell. We do have a spec. Although does sheen count as spec? Let's find out. Let me just check specular. Yeah, we don't have spec, so that's sheen. Yeah, it's too strong. So sheen. Let's go. Let's increase the roughness a little bit actually. Let's go like here for the roughness. But we're still going to reduce the number. Let's go 0.12. Stuff like that. And that's a bit much as well. Let's go to the shirt. Reduce the sheen on there. I do like the spec hits it's giving us. But I don't like the overall strength of it. It's too much. I need to organize all this stuff at some point. We can actually get rid of this now. So I really don't think we're going to use it. Although, you know, I'll keep the stuff here. But since we're not using it, I can move all this stuff back. And we'll just move it out of the way. There we go. Okay, we can drag this stuff down as well. Get a bit of separation on all this stuff. I'm just gonna backdrop that. In fact, no, I'm not gonna backdrop that. There we go. Okay, so let's check our spec channel now. Yeah, there we go. That's more like it. We're still getting the spec hits as well, which is nice. I think. Yeah, that's subtle enough, I think, for me. Because a lot of this is going to come back the moment that we start doing the actual weave that we were going to do. Although we are losing a bit of interest here, aren't we? Oh, that's interesting. The sheen was blocking light from going through. That's pretty cool, actually. Because light was getting reflected, it wasn't getting absorbed, which means actually we need to reduce the subsurface radius in the shirt. Because now it's going too far through it. So subsurface, where's the radius? Let's go 3. There we go. And then while I'm at it, let's unhide the tie. We're still going to keep the coat volume hidden. That's intersecting as well. It just keeps getting better. See, the model for the tire is going to need a lot of work. I'm gonna add a tiny bit of sheen back onto the coat, I think. I think I might have gone too far on the subsurface reduction. Let's add that back in a little bit. Subsurface was 0.4 before, so let's go 3.5. An extra quarter away there, in fact no. 4, why not? And then add a little bit of sheen back into this guy. 1, 2 is what we went with. Let's add, I don't know, 2. I don't know where it was before. Well, that might be a bit intense actually. Let's go 1.8. Okay. I wish I had this A/B back and forth function in Blender. It probably does. So there's someone I can ask. Ryan, where art thou? There we go. I've asked a friend who is quite good with Blender. So we'll see what he says. It's actually more sheen than before, isn't it? Let's go 1.5. I do actually some work with Blender in Montreal NPC or so. I don't really think so. I know a supervisor who likes doing look dev in Blender. Beyond that, I mean, I don't know anyone who uses it professionally. I just know people use it personally. In the case of the person I asked, Ryan, he's fresh to industry. Like he joined NPC 2 months ago. But he's been using Blender for years, and he's real talented. So yeah, he's going to come by into the chat and answer the question for you. But he's been using Blender for years now. Like, I'm sure there is a way to A/B renders, because like that's one of those like pretty features. It's like really should be easy to implement. So it feels like the sort of thing that Blender would have. Okay. let's say be that. There we go. Listen, that subsurface might be a bit too much. Just a touch. So previously it was 3.5. I have been summoned. There he is. Yeah, it's Oscar who was asking, as you can see in the chat above. Right, so I'm going to let that render, and let's go into here. Can delete this now. Let's remove the coat, remove the body, chronicle, eyes, and we're just going to work on this. Where's my Wacom? There it is. I'm like 90% sure my YouTube view count is broke, because it currently says there's one person on, but I'm aware there's at least two, because you like actively talking to each other. And like, there's been many times where it just reads 0 and I'm getting comments. It's so strange. YouTube is just like trying to get me in the confidence. Luckily, I don't need confidence anymore, but still, I've adapted to having no confidence. Okay, so I can pen, there it is. Right, so okay, so this doesn't actually have any subdivs right now, so it's all separate meshes, so we can do some fun stuff. Move topological, just push that into the go. We're going to thin it out just a little bit more. It's a bit too... Hey Bilal, how's it going, man? Welcome to the stream. I think it's the first time I've seen your username here before. Okay, I need to get some ref up for a tie. Do I have any? I know I have the painting itself, but in fact, that's good enough to go on. Let's spend a bit of time with that. Okay, we need a topological brush, auto masking, topological. There we go. Why don't I make a tutorial about sculpting likeness? Because there's so many people who have done it way better than I could ever do it. Ones that come to mind are Hussein Diba, Sefki Ibrahim. By a mile, the best one that I've ever personally seen is Chris Costa's Fly on the Wall courses, which I bought free of. They are incredible. Really strongly recommend it. It's a good chunk of money for a course, but the amount of stuff I've gained from that is invaluable. I reached out to Chris Costa after I bought them, and it's like just chatted to him about them. The amount of stuff he's done is incredible. Fangirling over here. But yeah, his stuff is way better. But it's like there's just so many, and the thing is with me is I get so tired of like people just making tutorials on the exact same stuff all the time. Like, I don't like seeing repeats of the same knowledge over and over and over again. So whenever I make a tutorial of my own, I kind of want to make sure I'm covering something that hasn't been covered the same way before. And when it comes to likeness, I'm not advanced enough to have any of my own techniques that aren't already covered by someone else with more skill. But the people mentioned above are incredible examples of likeness sculptors. I don't know if Hadi Karim or Karimi, let me just double check his name. He's one of the only people I follow on ArtStation. Hadi Karimi. I don't know if he's done any courses, but if he's done one, that would be probably a good one to check out as well. If you don't know his work, he's one of the most like prolific sculptors. Like the amount of stuff he does, and some of his work is really nice. I mean, all of it is good, but some of it is another level. I really like this, for example. The groom he did for this is fantastic. There's some technical flaws with it, sure, but like the final result, the final image is stunning. It's just so good. Ton of respect for this dude. I love this render as well. The dude has an eye for like making beautiful imagery. But yeah, strongly recommend checking his stuff out if you haven't already. Okay. So this tie needs some kind of auto UV. But not for beginners. Yeah, so I think it's with likeness sculpting. When I first started trying to do likeness sculpts, it was years ago. I think it was 2017 when I started trying to do likeness sculpts. I reached out to a guy I used to chat to quite often. In fact, I need to reach out to him sometime because it's been a while. But a guy called Liam Grice, or Liam the Tank Grice, who he's pure ZBrush, like when it comes to like public portfolio. And I asked him, like, are there any tips like for a beginner on sculpting likeness? And it's literally just keep doing it. And I don't think that's really worth a tutorial lesson. You know, there's no point in making a video on, hey, keep doing it, do it again, and then if it doesn't look good, do it again. Like it's not really tutorial kind of territory, really. Let me duplicate this. Oh, I actually have. Okay. Let's tuck that in. Let's do that. That makes it look like it's actually folded. Wondering what I can get away with. Can I reconstruct subdivs? I can't. This is as low as it goes. Okay. This is literally a sphere. Okay. Let's duplicate this guy. Duplicate. We're going to geometry. Delete higher. Then we'll go to zero mesh. I'm going to, I think, 10K. Let's see what this does. In fact, I need to not hold Alt when I press that. Zero mesher. It's literally the opposite loop of what you would have wanted in this region. And it's also a lot higher poly than I asked for. I'm I'm gonna try. So there's an old trick where you zero mesh a zero mesh, and it slowly produces better and better results. Although in this case, it's not halving it. And why is it keeping this bullshit? Zero mesh again. Okay, I'm gonna smooth out this region here. Okay. We're just gonna do that to kind of even it out and give zero mesh a little bit of an easier time. If it can't do it, I'll just box model it, because it's not exactly a complex model, is it? Looks like. Make sure I'm not sculpting through, god damn it. We'll leave that. We'll just zero mesh for now. Zero mesher. I need to, oh, that's actually not bad. 30,000. Okay, we'll half it again. It doesn't actually ever go to half. Let's try Alt. It's close enough to what we might want. How's it handle the bottom there? Nice. Alright, yeah, that'll do. That's our topology. We're keeping the pieces separate because there's no point actually doing anything other than that. So now what we need to do is make the other one visible and start projecting things back on. Although honestly, for the most part, we can just mask areas and project those. So, or we can even just sculpt it back in, so that might be quicker actually. Yeah, we'll sculpt them back in. Something like that will do. And then the hole back here, we're just going to use move topological to inflate it out without affecting the bit behind, and smooth from there, like that. And I might turn on topological masking for the clay brush as well. There we go. So I'm just literally tapping the smooth. We are getting a bit of a variable width, which I'm not too keen on. So let's fix that a little bit. And then we'll take this into Maya, get some basic UVs on there. We just need to sculpt in the crease up here. Oh yeah. Let's go to polygroups, auto group. There we go. There we go. I actually liked it pre-adding all the other stuff. Ryan, just a heads up. Like, Oscar, it's fine to ask questions. Just do be careful whenever you start talking about software. Talking about things like Maya and Blender are fine. But just try not to go down the path of talking too much about MPC's pipeline and like where tools get used. Just a heads up, because I don't know how familiar you are with the way our contracts are with that sort of stuff. I'm aware that you know how this stuff works, but I just wanted to make sure you're alright. Okay. Let's quickly... Okay, yeah, we definitely want to go back to that. It's a lot stronger. In fact, I think this piece we can project. So let's project this. Okay, that'll do. So now we just need to take that into Maya, get some basic UVs on there. I think, honestly, the baseline model is enough. Like, we don't need to take the sculpt into there. So let's save this, save our scene. Modeling, ZBrush. And then let's go version 26. Okay. So let's go to export settings, turn off group, export, and we go to Maya because that's where we put all our low polys. Although again, that's where I need to change the approach. So where's tie? Do we not have a tie geometry? Okay, tie geo. I'm gonna start putting sub D numbers in my sub D0 in my file names. Okay, so let's get into Maya. That is nice and clean. This is too strong though. I need to add some kind of sub bump as well because these are quite visibly simple planes. Okay, so let's get a very small change. What's this? Oh, okay, I can delete that now. Don't need that anymore. Let's get this guy. We're going to reduce the highest level of displacement, but not the lowest. I think the lowest areas are fine. I sort of, in fact, might even be too low. But yeah, let's limit that to 0.1. Kill this. Maya. We need to get the tie geo. Delete that boy. File, import. Get our tie sub D0. Oh, we got 2 underscores there. I'm gonna fix that. CG. Projects, personal projects. Singer Sargent, modeling, Maya, exports, tie, get rid of one of the underscores. There we go. File, import, and we got tie sub D0. Okay. Export, sorry, add the preview mat. Okay, and then this scene. Tie underscore geo. Clothing. Save again. Yeah, not familiar with NDAs. Yeah, so basically, Oscar, what CG artists can talk about will vary from studio to studio. Naturally, all the biggest ones tend to be the tightest, just because they have to be. Their clients, have more money on the line. Things they will happily talk about is software. Like in talks, they will happily talk about like the general approach. So say, oh hey, we do modeling to like this kind of stage, and then we move on to look dev. But it's all quite generic stuff. Occasionally, they'll talk about software that's used. So, for example, V-Ray has publicly been used for the Avengers movies with Digital Domain. They did do a breakdown, and I think it's on V-Ray's site as well that Thanos is V-Ray. But they won't talk about how we use V-Ray within Digital Domain. They won't talk about how textures are loaded. They won't talk about any specifics. So the moment you start talking about, hey, how do you go between these softwares, i.e. Blender and Maya and all that sort of stuff, that's where you start getting into the nitty-gritty of pipeline, the stuff that not every studio does the same. If you think to yourself, hey, what would every studio have in common? That sort of stuff is fine to say. But stuff that not every studio would do the same way is stuff that generally we can't talk about. We have to run everything by marketing and HR teams and PR teams and that sort of stuff to talk about that sort of thing. It is an absolute nest. Like, it's a nightmare, and everyone's aware it's a nightmare. It's just kind of the way it has to be. Because we'd rather have happy clients. Happy clients are important. They pay our rent, basically. Okay, so let's do a single edge loop. And oh my god, it completes. Okay, so cool. I'm gonna cut the back of this. Let's go cut. And then I'm gonna place the other cut, a loop at the front. Like that. Cut that. This guy, I think we logically need to cut it like that. Okay, cut those two. And then we want to cut along the back, I think, but we'll leave that for a moment. Let's try this guy. He cuts smoothly as well. What a treat. Cut. Let's just solo these guys. We're just going to cut along the back. We'll cut along the middle back, because that's never going to get seen. Um, 3ds Max off the grid. No, 3ds Max is used. I don't know of any VFX vendors that use it. Games definitely use it. Not all of them, but some of them do. Yeah, I know there's at least one studio like in VFX that uses it. But I'm not sure which studio it is, to be honest. Okay, so let's lay this out. There we go. What a wiggly thing of beauty. So we'll just scale it down a little bit. There we go. So, and get this exported back out. Let's just... This isn't where we want to be, actually. In fact, let's export this first so we can get it back into ZBrush. Modeling, Maya, exports, tie sub D0. So now we've got UVs. And then let's go to Katana. I'm going to check our scene graph first, actually. Onto utils, flush caches. Let's go back into Maya. Export this guy in his entirety. Cache, Alembic, export selection to Alembic. So kill that. So that's all exporting now. Let's go into ZBrush, go to our lowest poly, import the mesh back in, and now we have UVs. I always like to check it by doing auto group with UV, which, there we go. And then we can go back over our subdivs. We will need to fix the sculpt at some point, but that's fine. There's no real rush, honestly. Can add everything back in now. Okay, and we're just gonna get him saved again. I really regret not properly retopologizing the coat, because it made things so much more complicated. Like I should have just done like a cage model and like reprojected it all and then added thickness, but I just got too into it too quickly. So I'll take that as a learnable moment. So this should now look a little different. Let's try rendering that as is without changing anything. Let's go grab a drink. Then once this is working, we can get some interesting stuff on there. Yeah, there we go. That's the wrong insetting. The coat is still insetting the shirt, but not as bothered about that. Also, Oscar, I dread to ask, what time is it right now in Germany? It's gonna be like 2 AM, right? Or 2:30. Remember to get yourself some rest, man. Okay, so we need some kind of cloth pattern, although it's gonna be a very flat cloth pattern given the metallic nature of this. So for now, let's go with... This would be a good one for herringbone. We'll just copy my coat disc for now. There's a tie, there it is. Just need to move everything apart a little bit more. Okay. So we got our tie. Okay. And displacement. You gotta make a choice in life, sleep or watch, Mike. I know which choice I'd go with, my dude. And I am the latter of the two options. Remember that these are all recorded, man. Once I'm back in the UK, it should be a lot easier to kind of catch each other on like reasonable hours. But yeah, don't stay up late. The reason I stream on YouTube and not Twitch is because the videos never get deleted. Like my first stream is still on here. What do you say, sorry? Blanket report me. I was like, oh, it's copyrighted everything. You know, every single one of my videos has a copyright claim. John Singer Sargent. No, every single video I've ever done. Yeah, every single one has a copyright claim. But because I don't make money and because it's not copyright strikes, my channel's not been deleted. But all it takes is one dude who made a royalty-free track once just to say, hey, this shouldn't actually be royalty-free, and then I'm done, my channel's gone. Because the same songs are heard for every stream for the last year. But I guess the fun thing is these are kind of stream of consciousness anyway. So it's not exactly like quality content is being lost, it's just ramblings. And that's very easy to replace, I just start recording again. I'm really digging the glitteriness. Hey Becca, look at the glitteriness while it samples. It won't sample for long. Disco tie. I've just realized I'm literally making the same coat that I did for the kid. There he is. I'm making the same coat. This is the fuzz that I'm going to steal. I'm literally just going to hijack that from another project. I feel like this... It annoys me that Sticky Monsters might be the nicest project. For a character that I've done, I need to one-up that at some point. Because he was fun. He was a lot of fun. One thing I always find funny as well is the work in progress render of Sticky Monsters got more attention than the actual finished project. I think just because of the thumbnail framing, like this looks more interesting than this. But yeah. I'm kind of digging the glitter that we're getting there. It's not what we want though, so I'm going to have to lessen that quite a lot. So let's go minimum 0.001, maximum 0.002, I guess. It's so cool though. I want to keep it. We need it to be just insanely subtle for this effect to ever be achieved. Like, it needs to be basically no weave, which is sad because with weave it looks quite fun. I feel like I've got too much diffuse. Like the dark parts of my tie aren't as dark as these ones. That could be lighting as well, to be fair. But I don't think it is. It feels off. How much diffuse do we have? Yeah, we have a bit diffuse. And we have subsurface. There is a hint of it in the painting. Like a hint of a subsurface effect. And I think these are multiplied together, so it's out of the 0.082, 0.109 of that is subsurface. So if we go to our diffuse direct and compare that to our subsurface, oh no, it is actually brighter. Okay. In which case, random watt v2 is unnecessary. And we're going to reduce the scale. No, scale's good. It's just the amount we need to reduce. Let's go 0.5. And then diffuse direct. That's a tiny bit too bright. So let's reduce that tiny bit. There we go, we're getting a bit more of that quality back to it now. We've still got too much breakup in the disp. It's not as much as it was before, like, but like there's something so cool about that though. Maybe I'll add like a glitter effect to it later. For now, I think we need to reduce. We still need to reduce the disp, but I think we need to reduce the spec roughness as well. Which is currently set to 0.291. IOR is 2.5, that's fine. It is like in the territory of diamond and some like actual hard metals. But at the same time I'm trying to kind of get a specific effect. And I'm using it more like an artistic control than a physical control. So let's reduce. Let's go 1 and 0.5 on this guy. So half the amount. Again. That will reduce the glitteriness. I need to color the spec as well. Or it could just be the lighting. In fact, yeah, from a distance, that's lighting. It's dimmer than this white shirt. But I don't think it's more yellow than the white shirt. This is just blowing out. I think this color here and this color are about the same. Just this is more reflective, so it's, you know, peeking out a little bit more. I'm gonna need to resculpt the collar, I think, to get this. It's way too thick at the moment. I also need to have it come further up. It needs to cover the but yeah, how did I miss that? It needs to come way higher up and be thinner. Now obviously this is like where the type of cloth look dev we've done is branching us away from what the ref is. But then we do have the cloth rendering as a literal fucking like explosion of fog, so I don't think physical correctness is the way to go. Like matching ref isn't exactly what my goal is, but yeah, this needs to come up. Is that your mum's reply, Becca?
Yes. What is she all about? What is she all about?
Oh, Nicola, bless. That's so funny.
You can tell them.
And given it's 1:30, she's probably yeah, she's probably having a drink.
Read the conversation if you like lyrics.
Nah, I prefer not to put pictures of messages. I've seen your microfabric maps tutorials on how to use ID in Maya. Oh, how to use the ID maps in Substance. There's a way to shit. I've never used them in Substance. There is a way to isolate channels. Basically, fundamentally, what you'd want to do is create a layer for the red channel, a layer for the green, and a layer for the blue. And then when once you load in the RGB map, so the micro maps for the cloth, you will want to create some kind of grade. Now I don't know what it's called in Substance. What, sorry?
Sorry, in Substance it's like instead of RGB you use user 0, 1, and like they're called user.
No, I don't mean like that. So I mean like you can stack masks, right?
Oh, what do you mean, like I say?
You can mask stacks, like in a layer. You can do that. I can show you at some point when I open it, but you can do mask stacks where you have multiple masks fill the same layer, and one of them will multiply the other. It's a really helpful feature, but what you'd want to do is you can split it in Nuke, but if you want to do it entirely within Substance, you can get the, let's say, the red channel, or you can get the entire map and either multiply it by red to remove the other two channels, and then just desaturate that, and that will give you just the red channel. And then that will allow you to drive, you know, I think it's the weft. Green is bump, and then blue is the warp of the fabric. So you can do it entirely within Substance, you just need to use multiple layers, and it gets a little bit complicated. Really, the maps were designed to use in a shader graph. But yeah, at some point I definitely need to show you the mask stacks, it's really nice. What, sorry?
I don't think Substance actually has RGB export is a specific way.
Yeah, so what you can do is, if you do the layers in the mask, you can load in the the map and then multiply it by red, or multiply it by blue, or multiply it by green.
Yeah, and then it just...
And that will remove the other two channels. Because if you multiply, if you've got a map, let's say you've got a map that's white, it will be red, green, and blue will be 1, 1, and 1.
There's a reason that, like, there's a reason why it doesn't work. I can't remember why.
I can look into it at some point.
There's loads of plugins, like I googled it there because I was like, definitely.
Javier, is it Javier or Javier or? Yeah, I'm not entirely sure on the exact pronunciation. But a shuffle node coming to Substance would be really cool, actually. Okay, this is still way too glittery. I think what I might do, I'll lower this even more. Let's go 0.5 to 0.25. First version. Okay, Javier. Also, I meant to say earlier, welcome to the stream, dude. I don't think I've seen your name before in the chat, but yeah, welcome. What is it you do? Are you? I'm guessing in the industry because you seem to be quite knowledgeable.
Are you in Montreal?
I don't know if you guys can hear Becca, but she's asked if you're in Montreal. Becca's gone into detective mode. Thanks, I lurk in the background.
Oh, are you at Icon?
You work in animation. Nice.
He works at Icon.
He works at Icon? Oh, cool. Becca's found your art station, I think. Model look dev in Vancouver. Nice. Oh, yeah. Possibly. Okay, so that's... This is still... the tie before and after. I need to get a bit more definition in this crease, because that's not really working, but... Overall, this is still too round. Like, it's too smooth. Same with the coat. Like, the coat model is the weakest aspect of it right now. Yeah. Do we have any renders? We don't. Okay. What time is it? It's 10 to 9. I can push out a quick coat update. Let's do that. I think the bump on the coat is still too strong, but I really like the effect it's giving. So for now, we're going to experiment with the modeling of the coat. It needs to be pushed up to about here in the neck, which is a lot more than I expected, to be honest. So we've got a scene saved. I'm going to save that as is again, then save a increment. Ryan, if you haven't learned yet, Becca has a tendency of knowing everyone in the industry. Like, I think me and Rahul were talking about this recently. Like, Becca's literally spoken to Spaz. In fact, you were there as well. Yeah, we were chatting about it. Like, somehow she just happens to know everyone. So she's the most networked person I've ever met. Right, so let's get that way up there. That's going to look a bit more interesting, isn't it? So what we'll need to do now is start smoothing it out a bit, and also pushing it into the neck. Let's remove you. That's not what I want to do. Wait, what did I just do? Okay, there we go. Okay, so now solo this. We're going to want to carve into here. Let's remove this guy. I'm pretty sure the collar is symmetrical, so we can get away with sculpting this like this, but we're going to need to basically really thin out the collar for this to get the look that we need. Which, to be fair, isn't difficult to do, it's just a little bit time consuming. Let's use the standard brush. Standard brush is best for this kind of shape, although it does result in some bumpy shit. Gonna get the inflate tool and just inflate inwards, thin it out a little bit. Okay, so obviously that's inflated backwards a little bit, but that's fine. MV. There we go. So now we need to flatten out the actual shoulder itself. Oh yeah, it's raised the whole shoulder. That's pretty funny. Let's just flatten it out to the... This project is the perfect one to like punish me for not using the standard pipeline for the clothing. Like, it's trying its hardest to really make me suffer. There we go. Better than it was, still not good. That's better. Okay, so I believe it's the lowest poly version that we got in Maya. Let's find out. How many polygons are you? 107,000. And this is active points. Lowest poly, okay. So, let's save our scene. Yep, that's fine. Right, okay, so that's done. Let's check our export settings. Turn off group. It's the devil. Modeling, Maya, exports, coat geo. Get that into Maya. Let's compare them, A/B them. File, import, coat geo. So we have gained a little bit of mass on the shoulders. How much though? Bit too much. Let's even that back out. bit too much for my taste, I should say. There we go. Let's sculpt this in a little bit as well. That'll do for now. It's a bit wavy, isn't it? See, this is where asymmetry comes in as well, to be fair. There's a little bit of a difference between the two sides. But I think just touching it up a tiny bit makes a difference. I just need to inflate it now. Or deflate it, I should say. My network and link to make a network and mic stream. Because mic stream has, according to YouTube right now, 2 concurrent viewers. Even though there's more than that active in the chat, let alone backgrounding. It's so weird. It's like, over time, it's become less accurate with the count. So I have no idea how many people are watching my stream at any given moment now. Which is quite liberating. Because it means I've stopped caring about the number. Like, I can see 0 and be like, nah, there might be 5 people. I just don't know. What I find funny though is whenever I start a project, there's like 30 people watching, and then slowly but surely the numbers drop off as the hundreds of hours for a project start to mount up, which I understand. It's boring for me, never mind you guys. I am looking forward to starting a new project. Oscar, do you have me on LinkedIn? If not, add me, brother. I think I just did this one, so I'll do it again just in case. That's heavily intersecting over there, but I don't really care. Save our scene. Modeling, ZBrush. Okay. Maya 5. File, import. Okay, we can delete that now. Oh, copy the name actually. Okay. Get that into clothing. Oh, I didn't transfer the UVs. Okay, let me save a scene. Mesh, transfer attributes. Then by topology, I want to transfer UVs. And give us a minute to think about its crimes. If not, we can just, I mean, all we did was match it to the collar, so I can do that again if need be. If it crashes. Why it's not the quickest at transferring attributes. And when I say it's not quickest, I mean it's probably one of the slowest. It would be nice to see them. Oh yeah, there we go. It would be nice to see Maya do an update to its mesh transfer capabilities, because it is really like shockingly bad at it. Okay, open you up. Wait, that wasn't the latest version. We're on 6.5. Yeah, this isn't the latest one. Open scene. When was that last saved? 9 o'clock, I think. It won't let me see. And it's only 2 minutes past 9 now, so can't be that far behind. I like your profile pic, we got the same style, I'd say. Nice. Yeah, I tend not to take LinkedIn very seriously. I announced leaving NPC with a meme. And the meme did very well, actually. It got more attention than anything legitimate I've ever posted. Do you see yourself switching entirely to Houdini? At some point, absolutely. Although, not entirely. I do quite like using Katana. I mean, obviously, if Foundry ever... Yeah, if Foundry and I stopped working together and if I stopped getting Katana for free, I can't afford it. So I would have to switch to an alternative. Like, Mari and Nuke... Well, Nuke... I don't know. I would need to see what they do with their indie licenses. Because I don't use them frequently enough to, like, warrant buying it. Mari I'd absolutely keep using. Like, I couldn't function without Mari at this point. Okay, so that's the latest one. Let's delete this guy. Preview map. Code Geo. I need to put all caps. Clothing. Okay. So let's... Lightwave. Waves 3D. What's Waves 3D? I don't think I've ever used that or seen it. UV shell. I'm just going to go to UV toolkit. Transform. Get. Set. Yeah, I've seen some demos of Solaris. It looks pretty strong. Okay, there we go. So, let's get that saved. Yeah, Houdini's one of those tools I've been meaning to learn for a long time, because last time I used it, like, properly, like, I've used it at home a couple times in the last, like, 2 years, but it's literally just been for, like, hey, can I still navigate? But professionally, I used it a fair bit when I was in Previs. I made some, like, terrain generators and cave generators and stuff, and they were a lot of fun. Utils, flush caches, and then cache Alembic export. Export selection to Alembic. Modeling, publish. Okay, that's not what I want. This isn't what I'm rendering with. Do you guys actually hang on any Discords while you work on private stuff at home? Yeah, sometimes. I've got a little group chat that we hang out in. Although I've received requests so many times to, like, make a official Discord for this YouTube that I might do that. What, sorry? You can be my mod, okay. You'll kick me out of it. Okay, I'll make a Discord at some point, and I'll put it in the community page for my YouTube so that people can find it and join it. I expect it to reach 5 members, slowly fizzle out and die from there. Okay, it's still too thick, isn't it? Well, maybe not. That might have been the sampling. I think it is still too thick, but not as much as I originally thought. Oh yeah, we're gonna have stretched UVs now, aren't we? There's a free non-commercial license. Oh, you're talking about Houdini? Yeah, the Houdini Apprentice I've already got installed on my PC, like right now. And then Houdini Indie, yeah, it's very reasonably priced. It's a little bit cheaper than Maya Indie, which is like obviously what I pay for to use at home. Yes, it's still too thick. We need to thin that out. I think that could be future me's problem. I'm going to need to unfold the coat as well. In fact, no, let's just fix it now. Export this back out so we've got the UVs. Export selection. Modeling, Maya, exports, coat, geo. Then let's get into Katana. All the way down to lowest. Import. Maya, exports, coat, geo. Okay. We lost our groups, so poly groups. Group UV. Cool. Go back up to divs, they're all working. Good. Right. So we're just going to thin out the collar a little bit more. We still need to pull it a little bit further out of here as well. Create a little bit of a gap. Okay, so we just need to thin this out. So maybe trim dynamic is the way to go. That now. I think genuinely inflate is gonna be a best bet. That's not looking very healthy. Oh, that's where the hole is, right? Yeah. Way to hide that. Zero Mesh just didn't, for whatever reason, like this area at all. In fact, this entire area is getting a bit fucked up. This will be asymmetrical as well, so I need to be careful how I... Oh, that's pretty bad. I have to undo that a few times. I wonder if eventually these become... Like, if you use a small brush and slowly tweak an asymmetrical model, does it become symmetrical eventually? I feel like it would. Okay. So, that's noticeably thinner, which is what we wanted. I'd say that's thin enough. Let's thin out this area up here as well. Okay, that's much better. Okay, so what we're going to need to do now is export this back out, but I'm going to need to unfold the UVs again. Code. Yep, that's fine. Then, before we save this, I will grab this guy. File, import, go grab the coat. Okay. Re-unfold the UVs. I think just these ones. That's the important bit. different, but okay. I'll just put it up there. Okay. Preview map. Save. File. Export selection. Put that back into ZBrush. Lowest poly. Import. Coat geo. Okay. Let's go UV. We got it back. Save. ZBrush. Okay, back into Maya. Okay, clothing geo. And then export this guy back out. Alembic, export selection to Alembic. Hopefully, Katana's not cached. It isn't, good. One thing I might experiment more with in the next project is box modeling the clothing to get topology, but then only handling thickness with ZBrush, because the dynamic subdiv thickness is really, really consistent. It struggles with thin edges, but it works well enough. And if you're subdividing in Arnold, it tends to resolve a lot of that stuff. So yeah, the next project's going to focus more on like having fun artistically than technical like approaches and stuff. But I probably still won't use Marvelous Designer. I might try the process of running a sculpt into Marvelous Designer, see what happens. That's better. Okay, so that'll be it for this stream, I think. I'm going to kick off a test render with the smoke and see what it does. So let's do that thing I hate doing. Save, and this is going to be a long running render. And while this is running, I'll set up a Discord and put a link in the thing. Although, Oscar, do not stay awake for me to post a fucking Discord link. Go get yourself some rest, dude. And yeah, we'll get this sorted. So go opacity, let's plug that in. Opacity, and then go into here. I want to turn off that prune, and that will enable the volume. So then next stream we will move the projection around a little bit, just to kind of get the actual kind of fall off that we want for the smoke. We'll revisit lighting, because lighting is currently very flat, like not very interesting. And then we can probably look back into Groom before we do some skin retouches. I've got 3 weeks left, close to 2 weeks at this point. In fact, no, 3 weeks. I've got 3 weeks left to finish this project for like my kind of internal deadline. My internal deadline is for Friday. Let me check the exact day. Friday the 14th. That's going to be my last day on this project. Which, given it's a Friday, I might be at the pub, so the last day might be a Thursday or a Wednesday. Yeah, I'll let this render for a moment so we can see what's happening with the smoke effect, and then I'll just have to leave that rendering for a while. Look how much heavier this is to render now that there's some transparency on it. Disgusting. What is this? Now, what are these two shapes that have appeared here? They don't have specs, it's some kind of volume. Wait, I know what it might be. There's a setting that I changed without doing a test render. I changed this. Let's just undo that, and we'll kick off a render. If you're not aware, camera projections in Arnold, if you don't plug in a camera, it just renders with your render cam. Like, it just projects with your render cam, which is quite a helpful feature. Check my RAM usage right now. Task Manager. Performance. RAM utilization 31.8 gigabytes. How much of that is Maya? Or Katana, sorry. Oh, sorry, Render Boot. So Katana itself is using 8 gigabytes. Arnold on its own is using 4 gigabytes. And Maya is using 4 gigabytes. And ZBrush is using 3. And Chrome is using 1.3. Jesus Chrome. You chill the fuck out, my dude. Okay, we can start closing things while that tries to render. This was saved, right? Okay. Close that. This is still trying. This scene is saved. There's nothing up there. Oh no. Let's just save it. So I need to find a way to make this eye setup like viewport friendly, because currently you just see where the iris is looking, which is functional, sure, but like doesn't seem very helpful. Animators wouldn't like that, I don't think. But yeah, anyway, so this is just going to do its thing in the background. It's going to take a while for it to really kick off. Oh, those things are still there. Okay. Okay, so the next wave of debugging is to fix the smoke. Which might be coming from the hole. Potentially. Yeah, I'll figure it out. Anyway, that's it for now. Next stream, I'm not going to promise when it's going to be, because that's sliding all over the place at the moment. But I will continue to work on this off stream. And get it pushed through. I'll debug whatever these things are. But yeah, in the meantime, enjoy the rest of your night, and I'll see you in the next stream. Hopefully, in a week and a half, I should be completely free, like back to kind of usual like busyness. So might get back to normal scheduling at that point. But yeah, anyway, have a good night, guys.